Hello everybody and welcome back to the third episode in Anyone Can Draw. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. As promised when I started this, I said that we would be going through lots of different materials in realistic drawing and also animated. So today I am going to be drawing Todd and Vixie from the very old Disney film The Fox and the Hound. This is one of David's favourite Disney films. He actually cries every time he watches it. He loves it so much. And I'm also giving this piece away to a much loved family member who is actually quite poorly at the moment, but she loves The Fox and the Hound. Foxes are her favourite animal, so I thought it would be nice to give her a print of this as well. So this is dedicated to my Auntie Jean as well, this episode in the series. I'm absolutely loving drawing The Fox and the Hound. It is fantastic. If you haven't seen the film, definitely recommend watching it. But yeah, so today I'm not going to be going through a tutorial on how to necessarily draw Todd and Vixie, because Disney characters take a lot of time to draw, and Disney, as you know, has that very, very specific and unique look to all of its animated characters. I might in the future do a series just on Disney. However, because my role as a pet portrait artist doesn't really consist of Disney, it's just something that I've been doing a lot over the course of my life. I haven't really got much to offer in terms of a tutorial. It's just basically on what I've learned myself. If that makes any sense at all. It's just basically Disney takes a long time to draw, as for example anybody who does any anime sort of art like Dragon Ball, it takes a lot of time to perfect. So I've decided that I'm not really going to talk through how I've drawn this drawing. If you want to know, I've basically just done similar techniques to the how to draw the tabby cat video. If you haven't seen that, I definitely recommend doing it. I've seen some fantastic pictures. I will also be putting on a example picture that somebody did, a follower called Charlotte, who's been very supportive in all of my videos, and she's really loved drawing the elephant and the tabby cat, and she actually sent me across a picture of the tabby cat. It's absolutely fantastic, and I'm going to put it at the end of this video, so please do check it out. It's a really good example of the work that I've been trying to showcase into everybody to be able to do. Charlotte's done a really good job on it, and I'm super proud of her. So yeah, if you do ever go at any of my drawings, please link me in them on Instagram, Facebook, on YouTube. Let me know if there's anything in the comments that you want to draw. Again, Charlotte did recommend that she wanted to draw a lion from Lion King, or just a standard lion. So again, Lion King or just general lions will be something that I will feature soon in my upcoming videos. So if there's anything that you do want to particularly see me draw, or you want to learn how to draw it, please do leave a comment down below. So the picture that I'm drawing at the moment is probably the most iconic scene from The Fox and the Hound, and it's where basically Todd and Vixie just fall in love, and it's just a lovely little picture. But what I'm going to be going on in this video is basically how to lighten up images and how to get a basic understanding of how to use coloured pencils properly. Coloured pencils are very tricky materials to master, but they are the most fun in my opinion, and that is why I use them. If you make a mistake with coloured pencils, you can to an extent erase them, whereas with paint it's quite tricky. Same with oil pastel. Coloured pencils I just find are the most fun material to use, and you also have the most control over it, compared to like paints and other materials like that, and felt tip pens. They are really good. So basically just what I'm doing at the moment is I'm just doing a rough outline of Vixie and Todd, and then once I do this, basically when I do animated outlines, because they're so difficult to do, I make so many mistakes on them, the drawing itself is quite sketchy, so I basically go over it at the end of this drawing, and then I trace over my actual drawing so it releases a clean, precise drawing that I can then mark into and colour into. So yeah, like I said, I'm not going into how I actually drew Todd and Vixie, because this process alone took about 3 hours to actually get the drawing right. So I will do some Disney tips and tutorials later on. And that is my phone ringing. I do apologise, everybody, there. So yes, this is something that I will be going into a lot in further detail. So this is the drawing that I have now traced over, and it's ready to start colouring. For this drawing, I am using for Todd, sorry, for his fur, I am using 6 different shades of pencil. The pencils that I have always used have just been the W.H. Smith standard pencils, the signature Sings. Sorry, not the signature, the Spectrum Sings. The Spectrum Sings range from W.H. Smith, and I will have that linked in the description below. Basically, the colours that I am using are all within Todd's fur. So it is a peach, an orange, a burnt brown or like a copper brown, a red, a maroon red, and I can't remember what the other one is. It will come to me in a minute. A normal brown. Goodness me. So yeah, six coloured pencils that I am using for the fur. Basically, Todd's fur is quite different to Vixie's fur, but I will get into Vixie a little bit later on in this video. Basically, the main thing with doing coloured pencils is I would definitely recommend, if you are new to coloured pencils, to start doing animated characters, because you can't just colour coloured pencils using one direction. You've got to use quite a few. So for example, I have obviously sped this video up a little bit, but if you do look closely, each colour that I put on is put on in a different shade, a different direction. So for example, the peach I will put on from the left hand side to the right hand side of the page. Then the next colour that I use will be the orange, and that will go, like now, it'll go in a completely different direction. It'll go from the right to the left hand side of the page. Then the next colour that I put on, which is the burnt copper, that will be then put on the same direction as the peach, and so on and so forth. And that's basically just to make sure that you're getting into every texture of the paper, because paper isn't so much, it's a flat medium. It does have creases and it has folds from where the paper's been formed. So it's very, very important to go in lots and lots of different directions, and that's why I think if you're new to coloured pencils, it's the best method really of practicing, because cartoon characters quite often are just a block colour. I will be going into a little bit later on how you can add shadows to this. So I have added a couple of shadows into Todd and Vixie's. It's very, very subtle, but it does really make your drawing pop. So Todd, in the picture that I will also have referenced below, the picture is quite dark, and a big problem that I do get with pet portrait photos is that the animals that I receive are quite dark and dingy looking, so I do have to make sure that I lighten up that image. For example, I'm currently working on a little white terrier, and the pictures that I've received, the fur isn't quite true white. It's quite yellowy and browny, and if I was to put those yellows and browns in, yes, it would make it look exactly like the photo, but it would make the dog itself look really, really scruffy and dirty, and that's obviously not a good thing that you want when you're doing coloured pencil work. So basically, my biggest suggestion is to lighten up the drawings. What I mean by lightening up the drawings is basically taking a few reference images and really taking the time to look at the colours that are actually in that character. So let's, for example, take Todd from The Fox and the Hound. If you've seen The Fox and the Hound, you know that the film starts with Todd as a baby fox, and he is very, very orange when he's a baby. However, when he grows up, he does go a little bit darker, and the red starts showing through his fur and the brown starts showing through, and it's important to make sure that you capture that. Todd is obviously a male, so his fur is more masculine, whereas Vixie has the feminine sort of fur, where it's more of a peachy sort of orangey tone. So it's very important to make sure that you are picking the correct colours. When I first took the colours out for this pencil drawing, I took out a lot of yellows and burnt yellows, loads of different shades of oranges, but I ended up only needing the one shade of orange. So when you do coloured pencil drawings, it's very important to make sure that you take out more colours than what you actually need, and also just do a couple of little tests before I go into a pet portrait, and even when I did this portrait as well, I always make sure that I have a little tester page on the side. I just do a little scribble of the plain pencil itself just to make sure that I'm getting the right tone, and then I just try layering it onto different pencils and just seeing what tones it brings out and what shades. Sometimes you might look at the lead of a pencil and think that is the perfect colour, but then when you put it down on the page, it looks awful and it will just completely destroy your drawing. So definitely always have a tester page. On the side of this page as well, I am using markers, which I'll go into in a little bit, but I do have a little bit of testing on the side of this page. However, you can't see that on this drawing. It was just basically to make sure that the markers that I was using were going to look like the correct colour. So lightening up the pictures is very, very important, because obviously you don't want to create a piece of artwork that looks really, really dingy. So just make sure that when you are doing a coloured pencil drawing, just maybe have a couple of reference photos open. If you don't have any fancy software, you can just use PowerPoint. Just get the main picture that you're using. For example, the picture of Todd and Vixie, have that open on a separate slide in PowerPoint presentation, and then on a second slide, have a couple of reference images of Todd and Vixie in separate scenes, just so you get the understanding of where the light falls on them and what the shades are in their fur, and it will really help you to create a more realistic drawing of Todd and Vixie, or any drawing that you're going to be using in coloured pencil. It's really, really helpful. So if you look at the reference image, for example in the ear that I've done, all I used in the ear was just peach and the brown. Again, I'll have the colours listed below. I do have quite a few packs of the WH Smith pencils, and I know that they have changed over the last couple of years. So I will have a look into what WH Smith currently sells, and I will link in the description below the packs that will have all of the colours that you need in this drawing. The drawing itself only actually has 7 colours in it, this entire drawing, and then it obviously has the marker pens. But if you don't have access to the marker pens, you can if you don't have felted pens or anything like that, you can still do it with coloured pencils. Just press down a little bit harder with them. But with it being an animated drawing, I do like sometimes going in with those marker pens and just making it pop a little bit more. But yes, I will link that WH Smith in the description below, because the cheapest chips, these pencils, I think a 36 pack costs about £5.99, and obviously the whole point of this series is that I'm trying to get you to do art. If you're not necessarily wanting to spend a lot of money on materials, WH Smith pencils are absolutely fantastic. Personally, I actually haven't tried the Derwent pencils or the Winsor & Newton pencils that a lot of pet portrait artists use. I will be exploring that over the next couple of weeks in particular. But to be honest, I've always loved WH Smith pencils, even from when I was at GCSE Art, and I really think that the colours that they provide for the price of it are absolutely fantastic. So the ear on this, like I was saying earlier, I went off on a little bit of a tangent there. The ear is only using peach and brown. If you look at the reference image, you will see that it's literally just like a peachy white sort of colour. You can absolutely do that peach and white colour, that's absolutely fine. However, when you are doing a drawing like this, sometimes it does help to just think about where those shadows would lie. So for example, around his head and at the top of his ear, just where the natural light of the sun would come down, it would cast a little bit of a shadow. Even though it's not 100% clear in the picture, it's nice to just add a little bit of subtlety there. It just makes the character look a little bit more three-dimensional, and it will make the overall image pop. When you're doing drawings like this as well, and you've got more than one character on the scene, definitely just focus on one character at a time. It's very, very tempting to just, for example, Todd and Vixie's chest are the same colour. It's very, very tempting to just get that pencil and just colour Todd and Vixie together. Do not do that, because honestly you will get confused. I also do apologise at this point in the video about the lighting issues. I do sit very, very close to the window and it does cause a lot of problems with direct sunlight, so I do apologise about that. It is something that I'm working on at the moment, limited space in my house, but hopefully I will be trying to move my desk at some point to a better place so that the natural sunlight can get in, but it won't reflect on the page, so I do apologise about that. Yes, so it is very, very tempting to colour Todd and Vixie's chest part all as one, but please don't do that, because honestly you will get confused, and also it won't look quite right, because the same pencil markings that you will still be able to see on the page will be present in both pictures, so you'll have the same pencil line on Todd and on Vixie, and it won't get the three-dimensional effect. Obviously Todd is behind Vixie in this picture, and it'll just look flat around the bottom and it really won't look right. So just make sure you do that. The way that I've also laid the pencils out on the side is the way that I have layered these pencils on the picture. So it's peach, orange, and then the burnt copper, the red, the standard brown, and then the maroony crimson colour. That is the order that I have laid these pencils on. It doesn't necessarily matter what order you lay them on, but I would definitely recommend getting a thick layer of that peach in first, just because it creates the correct texture on the paper, and the paper gets used to the texture of the pencil on the paper, and then it's easier to layer using light to dark rather than dark to light. So this little bit here is just where I'm starting to put the shadows in. Again, just use your instincts on this, because obviously it's not on the picture itself, because the picture is quite flat. But just think about where that natural light would be coming in from the sun. Just underneath the eyes, in between the cracks of the fur, around the ears, just natural shadows where they might flow, and you'll instantly see that the picture will just pop out just a little bit, not an awful lot, because obviously Disney doesn't use, well, at that time Disney didn't use an awful lot of shadows. It was quite quick hand-drawn animation that created absolutely stunning pieces of theatre, but they didn't really use an awful lot of shadows. But when you're doing a drawing like this, it really does help to pop. So the only two colours that I've used in these shadows are the orange and a little bit of the dark brown. And then if little bits aren't quite covering properly, so you can see that the bottom of Todd's stomach is quite patchy, just keep going over with the same technique that I told you before, just one direction with one colour, one direction with the other, and it'll just help to layer it. So now that I'm moving on to Vixie, like I said earlier, Todd's fur is more brown, whereas Vixie's is more orange. I've done the exact same technique as Todd, except I haven't put that final crimson layer in, and I've just done the 5 colours and then gone over the top again with orange, as you will see in a minute, and it really does get Vixie's fur in. And then instead of using the bits of crimson, I've just gone a little bit further in with the orange and the brown. The colour around the eyes, which is a little bit lighter, again exactly the same as Todd. It was literally just peach, orange and brown, the first 3 colours that we used. So it's very, very simple. The little bit around the nose as well, my camera did actually, the batteries in my camera did die. I am struggling at the moment with my batteries, but I'm really struggling to get hold of some really long life batteries, because at the moment I can only get about an hour out of my batteries, which is really quite annoying. So I didn't actually film doing the nose, but basically all I did was just got a black marker on the black solid part of the nose. Again, you could use a felt tip pen or just standard colour pencils. And then for the little bit that's grey, I just did peach and black. So like I said, there's the six main colours in the fur, and then that black pencil. So you only need 7 coloured pencils to create this drawing, and at the end result it is absolutely stunning. I love it so much, and I really do hope that you give it a go. The only little bit of crimson that I have put in Vixie has been just on her eyelids where it's been closed. It just makes it pop a little bit more because Vixie's eyelids are the same colour as Todd's standard fur. You will be able to see it a lot better at the end. Again, I do really apologise about the sunlight. I'm having crazy weather issues at the moment in Durham. Today alone it's been really sunny and then it snowed. And it's in the middle of May and I'm really struggling at the moment in terms of the natural light because I don't have any studio lights. So I do hope that the quality of the video is okay for you. Like I say, I am trying to work on relocating my desk in the house, but we do have a lot of natural light issues in this house. But that's basically the gist of it. So if you're starting out with coloured pencils, definitely start with cartoon characters. Even if you don't want to draw the cartoon character themselves, maybe get a colouring book or physically just trace the drawing if you can, if you have access to tracing the drawing. But colouring books definitely I would recommend. I do actually follow a very talented YouTuber who does Dragon Ball drawings and gaming drawings, and he does have a colouring book series. I am thinking of maybe adopting his technique in using colouring books, but at the moment I am just focusing on the Anyone Can Draw tutorials because I think that, especially with lockdown at the moment, a lot of people are struggling on what they should do to pass the time, and I think this is really, from the reviews that I've got of it and the comments and the private messages received, a lot of people worldwide are really interested in Anyone Can Draw. So I'm going to stick with it and make sure there's lots and lots of content to come over the next couple of weeks. But that's basically the gist of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop talking now and I'm going to just let this video play on, and then you'll see the end result. If you haven't seen the previous videos in this series, I have done a drawing on an elephant using the grid method technique. Again, that's had a lot of popularity, so please go and check that out. And also the tabby cat. Like I said earlier with Charlotte's drawing, if you do send me drawings, I will feature them in my videos. I think it's very important to showcase everybody's work that they've been doing. If you do just get a creative streak, and you don't necessarily want to draw what I'm drawing, send me an inbox of it anyway. I'm really interested to see what people will draw. Let me know in the comments again if there's anything that you do want me to draw in particular, or even just send me pictures of your work, and maybe if you want me to reinterpret that work, I will absolutely do that. I am very open to doing virtually anything as long as it is animal themed, because my channel is all about animal art. So yeah, I am currently working on an Animal Crossing drawing as well using soft pastels, but because I haven't used soft pastels in a long time, I forgot how long it takes to use them. So that will be coming at some point over the next week. But I'm also working on another Anyone Can Draw drawing, which is a secret. So yes, please stay tuned to that. So I'm going to stop talking, I'm going to put some music on for you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video, and I'll see you in the next week. Thank you very much, guys. Bye bye.